What's the real issue with AI users? How did a simple tech promote so much hate? How did artists go from being celebrated to being discriminated? But what do AI users not want you to know? What's a dirty little secret that they're keeping? It's time we expose the truth. Welcome to the Art Mentor. My name is Sean, and I've been analyzing AI users for months to prepare for this video to let you know all the dirty little secrets that AI users don't want you to know about them so that you know how to respond to them. Now, a major critical understanding we have to start off with right now is that all AI users are the product of AI companies' predatory marketing campaign. Because at the core of why somebody would want to use AI is this philosophy that you are not good enough, that you will not survive, and that you are less than. And all of that cannot be sustainable. And at the core of that, they are just attacking your insecurities. And that, by the way, is a genius marketing campaign that literally every successful company has ever done before. What I want you to know is that every single time that all of this conflict erupts between the AI community and our community, that fuels AI companies. So what we have to do is we have to be vigilant, we have to be aware, and we have to be more cognizant of what the real underlying sinister issues are at play here. So let me get this straight. So as somebody who's writing a book, who's making a novel or making a graphic novel, right? You want your community, you want your audience to respect your creativity, but you don't want to respect artist creativity. That doesn't make any sense. That's a complete double standard. How do you expect yourself to do well when you cut corners on just the cover art for your book? Like, where else are you cutting corners? Really and truly, I want to know, like, why from a jolted client's perspective do you think that it's okay to screw over other artists, but are you gonna feel hurt when somebody can write your book or produce your story or produce your IP and then steal from you? Is that gonna be okay? Or is that gonna be wrong? Because honestly, at the core of that, it just doesn't affect you seemingly, but it's gonna affect you because AI is gonna come for you too, man. You think that you're somehow gonna be put on top of this pedestal? Like, that just doesn't make sense, does it? Now for artists, you might be wondering, how should we respond to these types of people? Honestly, y'all, just ignore them. Because to be real with you, these were clients that were never going to pay you because they never respected you anyways. And therefore, you should just let them go because they were never really gonna do anything for you anyways, because they're not doing much for themselves either. The real issue here is that these types of users are just overprivileged. And privilege has to come into the conversation when we talk about AI users because realistically, this is really just ripe with entitlement. Like, you are entitled to be able to do this because it is available to you. Now, what's really harmful about this too is it promotes a type of digital classism where people that have access to digital means and the economy to support that and the time to support that and the leisure to support that are therefore more superior than those that don't. And that's not right. And to be honest, if you're privileged enough to be able to use any type of AI software, you're also privileged enough to be an artist. In fact, you're more privileged to be an AI user than you are to be an artist. How's that sit with you? Now, how should we as artists handle these overprivileged users? Really simple, don't argue with them. Because every single time that you argue with somebody like this, it just reinforces their privileges. It's just not worth it. Now, can we talk about one of the most ridiculous perceptions surrounding art? Have you heard AI users in the AI community promote this idea that somehow art was gatekept from them? Like, who in the world in this current day and age kept you from being an artist? Like, I really want to know that. Right now, there is no better time to learn how to be an artist. You have all the availability and all the time and all the resources to go online to learn how AI works, to learn about its potential, to learn how to prompt, and how to learn how to use and integrate different technologies into it. That promotes a really dangerous, and I'm going to say violent agenda against artists as being somebody who are super elite. But I just want to ask you, y'all, look at the Fortune 500s. Who is an artist on the Fortune 500s? Oh, that's right, nobody. But who's up there from business and technology and AI? Oh, many of them. Who's really gatekeeping who? Who's really benefiting from this technology? So as artists, how should we handle this type of person? Well, I would encourage you to just question them. I want you to really get down to the core because if you ask them enough questions, you're going to find that those users, they had full access to everything. I have complete empathy for creatives that have broken spirits during this time. But what I want to tell the creatives that have completely broken dreams and they have broken spirits is that you can never accomplish anything great in your life from a position of disempowerment. And if you're coming into AI because you feel like you're lacking and you're less than, you're never gonna produce your best possible work. One statement that's been popularized in the AI community a lot is this idea that you won't be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by somebody using AI. But do you know who said that? The CEO of Google. So y'all, why are you taking advice from people that aren't even in the art sphere, they don't understand it, and they can't even produce anything that great with it. But you're gonna take that advice? No, friend. That is called propaganda, and you need to recognize it. So as artists, what can you do with these broken individuals, with these creative souls that have been completely sucked of their spirits? I want you to help them. I want you to encourage them. I want you to question why they're doing it. And I want you to help these artists learn once again what is unique and awesome and amazing that only they can do that machines never will, because it's definitely going to be worth it to save these people. Now, another phenomena that's hyper present all the time, and it has been present for such a long time, is this idea of talent. And have you ever heard AI users claim that they just don't have enough talent, they never had the time to develop their talent? But y'all, I just need you to know this. There is absolutely zero evidence that actually supports the idea of talent. It's just a complete perception. It's a horrible misrepresentation of what artists actually know and can do. And this topic is something that I'm so deeply interested in. It's actually my dissertation topic for my doctorate program. So I can definitely tell you with complete confidence and also complete research backing this that there is no such thing as talent, but what is real is how you consider it. So if you ever hear somebody say that they weren't born with it or they didn't have it, really at the end of the day, it's just that they never felt it was necessary in order to develop it. And they never wanted that much to really invest into the skills. And if you feel like you're not talented, really what you're saying is that it just doesn't matter to you. Now, when you encounter AI users that use this excuse of talent, I just want to let you know, I'm sorry to say, but you can't help them because they've already sunk into despair. So the best thing you can do is just move on and not argue against it. Next, let's talk about the biggest group of excitable little puppies that get super enthused whenever anything comes out. And I'm talking about the people that hyper idolize anything in tech and business and technology. And yes, I am talking about the tech and AI bros. And the thing that I want to let you know about this type of AI user is that, to be honest, they're not going to be in it long term at all. To be honest with you, all they're looking to do is ride the hype train. They're looking to just glide along with that. And then have you also noticed how tech bros are the first ones to jump on board anytime anybody critiques them, gives any type of actual meaningful assessment to any AI generated imagery? They're going to say, well, this is just beta. It's still under development. Look what it'll do in 5 years. Guess what, tech bros? I'll be better in 5 years, and so will every other artist be better in 5 years. But for you as an artist, why are you forgetting that fact that you will do better in 5 years? This painting I'm doing right now that you're watching me do at this current moment, I could not have done this 5 years ago, but I can do it right now. And I'm gonna tell you and assert this very confidently, AI will never be able to produce this because it can't understand the level of complexity and the humanity involved in doing something like this. But if you wanna fall under the guise that AI is gonna solve all things and that technology can solve all necessary human endeavors, no, it can't. And that's a really insufferable delusion. What is this again? It's a lot of entitlement, isn't it? Now, as artists, how do we handle this community? Well, my biggest piece of advice for you is to honestly rally and stand up for our rights. Like, let's let our governments know what we really think and how this is affecting us and why these are not the truths. Because if we stand firm together and we continue to do what we're doing, this is going to win. Humanity will win. And if you've ever seen any science fiction movie, you should know this, is that machines never win over humans. So let's discuss the most, I would say, despicable group of people that are also heavily involved in AI. And I'm talking about the people that delight in your misery, that delight in your doubts, the ones that no matter what happens, and especially when they start to make artists feel bad about themselves, start to make them question their path, then they absolutely love the misery that creates. But here's a curiosity. Why does that happen? Why? Because all of that rejoicing and the doubt of other artists and in the misery of other people, it validates them and how they feel about themselves. When somebody is putting down an artist, what they're doing is they're just validating the fact that they gave up on their dreams, because the light of your creativity shines light on their demons, and they don't like that. And the tricky thing about this type of person is that they're gonna try and bait you. They're gonna try and gaslight you. They're gonna try and get you to sink down to their level and argue with them because that's what they want you to do. But then also follow your passions. Keep doing what you're doing. You don't need to say anything back. I'm gonna tell you why. Because nothing you could ever say to a hater is worse than how their life currently is. So can we now talk about the banner that they like to ride under? This idea of democratizing art, even though, hello, art has been democratized for over 2 decades. Have you ever heard of YouTube? The best and brightest artists are sharing their stuff for complete free here. You don't have to worry about access because listen, y'all, it's not your fault where you were born. It's not your fault you didn't have money to go to art school. It's not your fault you had lousy art teachers. But how long are you gonna let that be your excuse? Because it always was democratized, wasn't it? And the thing that I want you to realize about anybody that says the word democratization is that that is literally the language of oppressors. And history is ripe with examples of this. Democratization is literally the same reason why Hitler tried to take over the world. Democratization is the same reason why the Romans literally took over all of Europe. Democratization is the same reason why England colonized South Africa and Australia. And democratization was the same cause that resulted in the complete neutralization of all the indigenous tribes in the United States. So, do you really want to be associated with somebody like that? So, as an artist, how do you handle these digital patriots, these people that are just bannermen, these people that want to just ride with something because they feel like they want to be a part of something and they feel that might be cool, they might like the attention of it, they might want to siphon some of it, right? Here's the thing, you got to just not engage with these people. Like, for all good measures, do not engage with them because they usually come in swarms at you, and I don't think you want to be associated with that, and you might not be able to handle it either. So be wary, my friend. One thing now that I have to concede is that certainly AI is getting a lot of attention online. I mean, you can't really go on Instagram, can you, without just being recommended loads of that garbage. However, though, I just really want to be wary of this type of person. Have you noticed how many people are getting into AI just because it gets a lot of eyes and attention, just because it gets a lot of exposure, as if those exposure dollars really pay your rent or anything like that, right? So to the AI users that are doing this because they think that it's somehow going to generate some type of opportunity for them, that's a very unfounded philosophy. And the thing that you want to know about this type of person is that they're really just trying to fill a void in themselves because all that attention is seeking to create some type of an artificial plug for the emptiness inside of them. And it's never going to be filled by this too because it's a much deeper issue that they're not allowing themselves to really tackle in a healthy way. Now, as artists, this is definitely a difficult group to handle. I'm going to tell you, do not engage with this type of person because this is the type of person, the type of AI user who is going to get nasty. They're going to get violent. They're going to get abusive with you. They might even use their social media to attack you. And to be honest, like, you don't really want to be a part of that because you're also going to help fill their void by engaging with them because it's going to validate them. Now, at the core of why do AI users see artists as a threat? What is the threat involved in them? And what does that really boil down to? It boils down to this. There's a high degree of envy throughout the AI community where they wish that they could develop the skills, they wish that they had the opportunities, and at the end of the day, they're just unwilling to sacrifice from it. And I just want to ask you this, like, what in life is worth doing without a little bit of sacrifice involved, right? But really, what does this boil down to? It seems like artists are a threat to their potential, but really, I would just say to this type of AI user, that your potential still exists, but it might not exist in this field. It doesn't mean that you have zero potential as a human being, but maybe they perceive it that way. But at the end of the day, though, it's not something that you should be promoting violence and discrimination against artists for. It's not artists' fault that you didn't put forth the time, energy, effort, and the dedication towards actually learning this craft. And it's also your fault for not doing that. It's nobody else's, and how long can you really use that excuse? Now, as an artist, how do you handle this type of people? Honestly, y'all, just ignore them because the unfulfilled promises that AI is currently making right now is gonna speak for itself. Have you ever heard AI users claim that everything that it makes is completely beautiful, that everything it makes is perfect, that everything that AI produces is just absolutely electrifying and there's so much potential? But then you go ahead and you give them some honest feedback on it. And then what do they say? Well, AI will improve and don't worry about that. And yeah, I know it's those wonky hands. And yeah, that face is jacked up. And yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. But AI is going to get better. At the core of this, though, you just have people with low standards in imagery. And they're trying to really push and they get really aggressive. You ever notice that? They get super aggressive when you try and push them on what could be better. And they don't know how to make it better. And there's not going to be a solution for it without any art. And even if you're an artist that is trying to use AI to get better, I'm just going to tell you this, if you can't produce that level of imagery without AI, you're not going to be able to do it with AI because you're going to run into the same problems, the same issues, and a lack of solutions for those same exact problems at that same exact time. So therefore, it's just not worth it. You can't do it. It's not going to happen, friend. This also combats a really nasty issue, which is they just have issues with perfectionism. And perfectionism, by the way, isn't real. It's just a mask for inadequacies and insecurities that you currently feel about your imagery skills. The thing that this really highlights is just this need for absolute perfectionism and this need for unattainable perfection. But to be honest, artists, you know, don't you, that it's those things that really make everything else so much better, that make artwork come alive, okay? Now, so many artists have been completely downtrodden and trampled by the awful and nasty rhetoric of AI bros, which is why I made an entire video about it right here and learn everything that they're saying is completely false. Go check it out. I promise you it's gonna make you feel better.